Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Nick Zimmerly, and so today we're going to be making feta cheese. And we're going to be using cow's milk rather than goat's milk because the goat's milk that I have access to is ultra pasteurized, and that would not be good. We wouldn't get a good curd set in our cheese. So I'll be using cow's milk, and since we are using cow's milk, we're going to add lipase to our recipe. As where if you had goat's milk, then you wouldn't need to add the lipase. And if you're just now getting into cheese making, this is a good beginner cheese outside of ricotta cheese and things like that. But this can be eaten within a few days of making it. You can even age it for a couple of weeks or even a couple of months. So we're gonna age this one for 2 weeks and see how that tastes at that point. So let's get to it.
Okay, so I've got my milk heated up to 92 degrees Fahrenheit. And so I'm adding 1/16 of a teaspoon of thermophilic culture and 1/16 of mesophilic. After letting that rehydrate for a few minutes, we're gonna thoroughly stir that in. And just stir for a good 30 seconds. And then you're gonna let that ripen for 45 minutes. And after 45 minutes, we're gonna add a 1/4 teaspoon of lipase to a couple of tablespoons of water, non-chlorinated water. We're gonna add that in and stir thoroughly again. And we're gonna let that sit for another 15 minutes to let those enzymes work in the milk. And so a total of ripening time of an hour. And so after that hour, that last 15 minutes, we're going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of calcium chloride to a 1/4 cup of non-chlorinated water and thoroughly stir that in. And just make sure that's nice and incorporated into the milk. And this is going to add more calcium into the milk because I am using store-bought cow's milk. And so after that, we're going to add, I'm using rennet tablets. It's a 1/4 of a rennet tablet or a 1/4 teaspoon of liquid rennet if you're using that to a 1/4 cup of non-chlorinated water. So I had covered that so we don't get any dust that settles. And so after an hour, I'm checking for a clean break in the curds, which that is a clean break. So I'm going to cut 1-inch cubes into the curds. And just while you're cutting these curds, you're just going to want to kind of take your time getting these curds to the right size. This is kind of time consuming, but it's important that you just take your time doing that. And so I'm doing horizontal cuts. Well, ideally they'll be horizontal. If you get your hands on a curd harp, that will help. But I'm just doing, I don't have one of those, so I just a diagonal cut. And then as I start stirring the curds, I will cut them to size for the ones that are uneven. And so as you see, I'm not stirring right away, but I'm lifting the curds to where kind of break them up into their cube shapes. And I start from the top of the curds and then I work my way down to the bottom. And after about 20 minutes of stirring, you're going to stop stirring and ladle these curds into cheese form. And so after ladling them into these cheese forms, I ended up with 2 cheese forms. And you're going to let these drain for the next 6 hours. You're going to flip every 2 hours. And after that 6 hours, you're going to let those, you can let those set overnight or for another 12 hours, depending on what time of day you're to start this at. And then you can take that whey, and since it has the right amount of calcium in it, you're just gonna take 2 quarts of it and add a 1/4 cup of salt to it, and just to ensure that there's enough acid, I put a couple of tablespoons of vinegar so the cheese doesn't turn slimy. I'm gonna brine this for 2 weeks. You can go longer. Some people have been like 3 days after brining. But you're going to want to brine this for at least 3 days at 55 degrees Fahrenheit before you eat this.
All right, guys. So our feta cheese has been aging for 2 weeks in the brine, and so you can age yours for much longer, or sometimes you can. Some people like it even a few days later, but 2 weeks is where I figured I would try this out at. So let's see. Remember, we used cow's milk that we added lipase to get that robust flavor that feta cheese has. So. That's amazing. It's got that perfect, ideal feta cheese flavor. It's super creamy, it's super good. Now, if I had access to goat's milk, I would prefer to use goat's milk, but this couldn't have come out any better. So amazing. So I'm gonna probably eat most of this. So if you like this video, I'll include some more of my cheesemaking videos in the comments so you can check those out. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching.